Breaking news today. New details have emerged about Ghislaine Maxwell's confidential meetings with top justice officials, sparking serious questions. What prompted her sudden willingness to talk, and what might the elites be concealing from the public? Stay with us for more updates.
Hello, and welcome to That News Show, where we discuss the latest facts, fakes, and hypocrisy as reported by the legacy media. Let's roll the tape.
Fox News has exposed shocking new details about Ghislaine Maxwell that have taken her attorney by surprise. Tonight, we must ask ourselves, why is Maxwell suddenly cooperating with the Department of Justice after years of silence and a trial that left many questions unanswered? Why now? Why were federal investigators unable to formally interview her before her conviction? These are not minor oversights. They are significant failures by the institutions that are supposed to protect us. For decades, we've seen the elite protect one another while ordinary Americans are told to trust the process. Is this truly justice, or just another chapter in the long history of powerful people protecting themselves? The American public deserves real answers, not continued secrecy and selective outrage. Let's get rolling.
Jonathan Turley joins us now. Okay, so part of this is, palace intrigue and all that, knowing the backstory there. But from a criminal standpoint, what can they be held liable for?
The so-called justice system appears overly eager to protect certain elites while aggressively pursuing others, often motivated by political convenience rather than adherence to the rule of law. The recent disclosure of Ghislaine Maxwell's new meetings with the Deputy Attorney General, who has ties to the current administration, raises significant concerns about transparency and accountability. When someone so deeply connected to global power networks is open to cooperation, the American people deserve full disclosure of the terms, not secretive discussions. Maxwell's lack of formal interviews by federal or state investigators before her conviction highlights a stark example of investigative negligence, showcasing how the system favors the well-connected. Legal experts, including Professor Turley, have criticized this oversight, pointing out the failure to provide equal treatment under the law. As Maxwell suggests new evidence and potential appeals, it leaves the public questioning whether this is an effort to uncover truth or a tactic to shield elite figures. This situation might be exploited to settle political scores, or divert attention from the previous administration's failures to address Epstein's network. The continued secrecy and refusal to unseal grand jury transcripts only perpetuate the belief that the system protects powerful allies rather than serving the public. Also, while the media focuses on alleged Republican misdeeds, there's a notable lack of enthusiasm for scrutinizing Democrat-aligned elites. The selective outrage erodes trust in our institutions. The previous administration's poor handling of transparency and accountability should not be overlooked, as justice was often delayed or denied. There are widespread calls for a thorough and public examination of the facts, which are crucial for restoring trust. The American people are weary of selective justice and covert agreements. Any decision to grant clemency or reduce sentences should rely on tangible, verifiable evidence, not on political maneuvers. Our focus must be on eradicating corruption and holding all offenders accountable, irrespective of their status or connections. This case exemplifies the broader issue of global elites and political insiders creating a system where accountability is rare. Many Americans are justifiably wary of international engagements and global governance, having observed how these networks often shield their members. Moving forward, we need unwavering transparency, strict penalties for misconduct, and a steadfast commitment to the principle that no one is above the law.
Well, in terms of the president's conduct, there's really nothing criminal there except for possible lying to federal officials or acts of perjury.
Perjury and making false statements to federal officials are serious offenses. The enforcement of these laws often seems to sway with the political winds, particularly regarding high-ranking government figures. A recent example is the referral of the Federal Reserve Chair for possible perjury by Republican lawmakers, highlighting how accountability becomes a priority when it aligns with partisan interests, yet is overlooked when it threatens established power structures. The laws, specifically Section 1621 and 101 of Title 18 of the United States Code, are clear, but their application often appears selective, especially for those with strong political connections. This issue goes beyond individual officials or political parties. Both sides have manipulated governmental power to protect allies and target adversaries. The previous administration under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris escalated these tactics, using agencies to obstruct investigations into their actions. In contrast, the current administration emphasizes transparency and equal justice, advocating for the release of information and consistent standards for all federal officials. The partisan divide on these matters is widening. Republicans advocate for stringent oversight and reforms to ensure that lying to Congress or federal investigators is prosecuted effectively. Democrats, meanwhile, seem reluctant to hold their members accountable, often redirecting focus with investigations into their opponents. This double standard undermines public trust and increases cynicism towards our institutions. As we look forward, the implications for policy and governance are significant. Without reforms that impose real consequences for dishonesty, we risk perpetuating a culture of impunity among our leaders. The American public is calling for accountability, not only for major scandals, but also for the everyday misconduct that plagues Washington. As election season approaches, these governance issues will likely become focal points, with voters growing increasingly wary of the establishment. The priority should be to restore integrity to our government, focusing on genuine reform rather than using these issues for political gain or to expand federal authority. Recent years have demonstrated that unchecked power and selective enforcement primarily benefit a select few, not the broader public.
In terms of the president himself, he's not likely, obviously, facing criminal conduct over his deteriorated state. Also, in terms of White House officials lying about his lack of capacity, that's also not necessarily a crime.
Fox News' coverage of the Maxwell case has shown a mixed commitment to accuracy and thorough fact-checking. The network has been quick to emphasize the new nature of Maxwell's interactions with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanch and the lack of formal interviews prior to her conviction. It often amplifies speculation about hidden motives and political deals without providing solid evidence. For instance, Fox News frequently mentions new evidence and potential clemency deals, leaving viewers with unanswered questions about these claims. The reporting tends to examine figures from the previous Democratic administration, especially Joe Biden and his associates, while portraying the current administration more favorably. Although this reflects the frustrations of many Americans with selective enforcement and opacity among elites, it also perpetuates partisan divides by not applying equal skepticism across the board. The inclusion of legal experts like Professor Turley, who criticizes investigative shortcomings, is a positive aspect, but the network could benefit from featuring a broader range of perspectives, particularly those that might contest the dominant narrative. Fox News often sources information from congressional Republicans, legal analysts, and attorneys involved in the case, offering valuable insider views. The absence of access to sealed documents or independent verification sometimes hampers the depth of their reporting. The network's use of visual aids like timelines, document excerpts, and connection maps between Maxwell, Epstein, and government officials does clarify complex issues for viewers. Yet, these visuals can also oversimplify or sensationalize the story, potentially leading to conspiracy theories rather than informed discussion. A strong point in Fox News' approach is its consistent call for transparency and accountability, especially concerning the non-disclosure of grand jury transcripts and the DOJ's unclear dealings with Maxwell. This stance resonates with the public's increasing distrust of global elites and power networks, intensified by years of political insiders avoiding consequences. To enhance its credibility, Fox News should apply the same investigative rigor to all parties and clearly differentiate between confirmed facts and speculation. In contrast, mainstream media outlets often overlook or downplay these issues, focusing on other topics or repeating statements from Democratic officials. This selective reporting exacerbates public distrust and supports the view that the mainstream media protects its allies rather than seeking the truth. The American public deserves a press that holds every official and institution to the same standards, consistently, not just when it suits political interest. As the Maxwell case progresses toward congressional testimony and the potential revelation of new evidence, it is crucial for all media, including Fox News, to focus relentlessly on transparency. They must demand solid evidence for claims and avoid using these issues as mere tools for partisan advantage. Only through such rigorous journalism can we hope to restore trust in our institutions and ensure that justice is impartial, not merely another instrument for the powerful.
Is she going to get something in return? I mean, there's really no motivation to talk with the feds unless she gets some type of deal. What could that deal be?
Right, Lawrence, that's really the key question here. There is a thing called a 5K 1.1 motion that the Justice Department can file for cooperation to reduce a sentence. That's usually when someone is a key witness in the prosecution of a third party. The defense can also go to a court and ask for a reduction based on new evidence, but we haven't seen that.
When someone like Maxwell suddenly cooperates with federal authorities, everyone wonders what she expects in return. In federal prosecutions, a 5K 1.1 motion is the golden ticket, reserved for those who provide substantial assistance leading to the prosecution of others. There's no public indication that such a deal is on the table, and the Justice Department has not disclosed details about these high-level meetings. This secrecy fuels public skepticism, particularly in high-profile cases involving global elites and entrenched power networks. The American public has observed how well-connected insiders often evade the full force of the law, while ordinary citizens face severe consequences. Transparency is crucial in restoring faith in our institutions. From a financial and economic standpoint, these scandals have significant consequences that extend beyond the courtroom. When the Justice Department appears to make secret deals, it erodes investor confidence and destabilizes markets. It's akin to a rigged game of Monopoly where bending the rules for a few undermines trust in the system, affecting everything from retirement accounts to small businesses' willingness to hire and expand. Economic uncertainty leads to reduced consumer spending and slowed economic growth. Different sectors are affected. The financial industry faces increased scrutiny and rising compliance costs as regulators attempt to rebuild public trust. The tech and service sectors experience hesitancy from international partners cautious of an unpredictable legal environment. For Main Street, this results in higher borrowing costs and fewer opportunities as banks and investors become more risk-averse. Households feel the impact too. When headlines focus on elite scandals and secretive deals, consumer confidence suffers. People question whether their efforts will be fairly rewarded, leading to decreased spending and economic slowdown. Imagine a chart showing consumer confidence and market volatility moving in opposite directions. When trust in institutions falls, volatility spikes, hurting everyone. The demand for transparency is about more than justice, it's about economic stability and the security of American families. The current administration's commitment to credible evidence and thorough investigations marks a positive shift from previous practices of stonewalling and selective outrage. Congressional insistence on full disclosure supports the long-term health of our democracy and economy. It's also vital to avoid using these scandals as a pretext for expanding federal power or involving the United States in foreign conflicts. But the focus should remain on domestic accountability, ensuring everyone, no matter their power, is subject to the same laws. When globalist networks operate unchecked, corruption spreads, and the average citizen suffers through lost opportunities and reduced freedoms. As Maxwell's discussions with the Justice Department progress, the nation watches closely. The outcome will signal whether our justice system serves the people or protects the privileged few. The credibility of our institutions and the financial well-being of every American household are at stake. Well, there you have it. The American people are weary of deceit from the elite class that has let them down for decades. The Epstein-Maxwell scandal exemplifies a corrupt system where the powerful shield each other, leaving ordinary citizens with broken promises and deteriorating cities. Under President Trump's administration, there's a clear refusal to succumb to globalist agendas, emphasizing real accountability instead. In contrast, the previous Democratic administration under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris merely perpetuated this decay, hiding behind slogans while obstructing justice. So the pressing question remains, when will those who claim to represent us actually be held accountable? We will continue to demand answers because, in America, the truth is essential. We look forward to reading your comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you on the next one.